course, a lot of people aren't sheeple now. They're waking up. So joining us right now is Gerald Celente. And Gerald, tell us exactly where you are in Ireland and what you're doing over there.
Alex, I'm in Dublin, Ireland at the One World Chronicle conference, and I just flew in from Munich 2 days ago, and I want to let you know that in Germany and in Ireland, everyone has been telling me, when you talk to Alex, tell him what great fans we are.
Wow, very, very humbling. And I want to say hi to the hundreds of thousands of people that are tuning in one way or another right now just to this special internet transmission. So thank you, Gerald, and say that I'd love to drink a pint with all those great men and women there in the background.
He said he would love to have a pint with all of you great men and women over there in the background.
Oh, man, I'm glad we decided to do this. Again, Gerald, tell us what you're doing over in Ireland, and then give us your call. I know you've been saying Obama for months, and it's neck and neck, but a lot of the pundits are saying looks like 4 more years of the man of peace who's launching all these wars.
Well, what I'm doing, I was just at a metals conference in Munich and the One World Chronicle conference over here in Ireland. They have a number of issues that they're dealing with. One of them, of course, is the bailouts of the banks, which are totally illegal. They're just taking the money from the people and giving them to the banks when there's actually been no deal made at all between the banks that knew what their risk would be and then shaking down the people for all the money. So there's a real, how I've been talking, Alex, about direct democracy? Well, Direct Democracy Ireland is taking hold. DirectDemocracy.ie. The people are fed up with it. Look what's going on in the States. As you know, this is the first time I have not voted in an election. Who could call this a democratic election? These clowns can't even count the votes. The whole game is rigged. The systems are breaking down. The people in Ireland are feeling it. They want no part of it anymore, and they're ready to rise up against it. And so what I'm over here talking about is the collapse of the currencies, the breakup of the European Union eventually, but more importantly, Ireland joining with Switzerland to start moving forth with true democracy, where the people will have the right to vote rather than it being controlled by the gangs that are controlling it now.
Wow. We've talked to some of our reporters here in Austin, and polling places, like you just said, are broken down, not working. We're getting reports of things flipped from Obama to Romney, Romney to Obama. We're like 8 days into the hurricane on the East Coast where you'd normally be, Gerald. And still, government can't and won't help the people. Where do you see this insanity going?
It's collapsing. The collapse is around us. You know what no one's talking about with New York? And you know me, I'm a Bronx, New Yorker. I know the gig. The entire infrastructure of the United States is in collapse. And you get all these big-mouth politicians over there shooting off their fat traps saying about how we're going to be there for the people and don't forget that we're there for you. The entire United States infrastructure is collapsing. We know the data coming out from the engineers that are saying it's going to cost an estimated $13 trillion just to get the thing back on track. That doesn't mean moving it into the 21st century. The entire nation is in collapse. And here's something else, Alex, that the prostitutes are not talking about. They're saying that an estimated 35 to 40% of the people already voted, correct?
Yes.
All right, now, what imbecile believes that these clowns don't know what the vote count is? This is the mafia. Let's get this straight. They know what the vote count is. This whole game is rigged. What 3-year-old does not believe that 40%, 35% of the people have already voted, and no one knows? It's a secret. We promise. Scouts honor. Who are they kidding?
So you're predicting, though, that in this whole war of the puppets, we're going to get Obama for 4 more years? That's still what you're predicting?
Yeah, I would. This is not one of the ones that I'm going to base my reputation on, because, again, anything could go in a totally corrupt government. Let's remember who we're talking about so nobody misunderstands this. This is the same government where George W. Bush, hey, haven't seen him on the campaign trail. What happened, you know? How come he's not out there like Bill Clinton? Because this is the same war criminal that lied the country into war. Of course they're going to lie about anything. They'll steal votes. They'll kill your son. They'll rob your money. They'll do anything that they can. Who's going to win the election? Whatever group of criminals could be the best criminal on the block.
All right. I tell you, it is exciting over there. What I'm hearing from you, Gerald, times already this year to Europe. Europe and Ireland and other areas are really waking up. Give us the sense of what they think about being under bankster occupation.
The people have had it, Alex. You know, I just came back from Ireland. The last time I was here, it was a little over a year ago. Everywhere I look, there are signs to let, for sale. Everywhere you look. They're beating the people down into the ground. They got this clown. He fit really good in the U.S. This guy named Noonan, one of the bureaucrats over there. They're paying one of the criminal guys who helped bring down the system, that helped rob the money from the people. Check it out. This is a country of about 4 million people. This guy is getting £500,000 a year in severance pay for pulling off the criminal act just the way they wanted him to do it. And you know what this clown Noonan says? We can't do anything. That's already been done. We have to steal more of your money. That's right. Look what's going on in Greece. Hundreds of thousands of people out into the streets. Look what's going on in Spain. Millions of indignados. You know my saying, Alex, when people lose everything and have nothing left to lose, they lose it. And they're starting to lose it here in Ireland. You're finally seeing the fighting Irish spirit rise.
Now, again, I agree with your point that we don't know who's going to win because it's a toss-up between two different criminal syndicates through election fraud and other systems trying to grab power. I mean, I'm looking at this. Thousands of dead Californians remain eligible to vote. We've got exit poll data will be examined in quarantine room. UN poll watchers amazed U.S. doesn't require IDs to vote. They're not here in Austin. It just goes on and on and on what is happening. And the race is neck and neck, but it doesn't even matter because Obama and Romney are bought and paid for by the banksters. Gerald, describe, though, the differences, if you see any, the similarities and the differences between these two men. Because earlier today, I played a clip of Obama doing his Oprah crying and saying, I don't lie to you. I tell you the truth. And we have an article at Infowars.com going over all the facts that, was going to end torture, continued it, was going to shut Gitmo, expanded it, wasn't going to hire lobbyists, broke the records, wasn't going to have signing statements. The list goes on and on. Was against the NDAA, turned out they wrote it and signed it. I mean, it's incredible how the standards have dropped. So what are the similarities between Obama and Romney? What are the differences? I mean, what is your incredible trends forecasting? Someone's perspective everybody respects that I know. What will be the difference between the gangster chief Obama and his group of criminals and their management team of Slavery Incorporated and Obama's, enemy over there, only on paper, Mitt Romney and his people?
There won't be a lot of difference. Let's go back to the debates. When they talk about foreign policy, listen to these little boys talking about how they have to take out Assad. Let's remember Obama, that wonderful Nobel Peace Prize winner. The guy that sends predator drones in to blow up wedding parties and kids collecting wood. How about that wonderful humanitarian mission? Listen to that guy brag all the time. I said that if I had Osama bin Laden in my sights, I'd pull the trigger. I mean, come on, this is a little Boy Scout. You heard Obama talk about how he took out Gaddafi. And you're hearing the same thing with Romney. I do believe, however, that Romney will also out Obama on other areas, such as giving more freedom to the multinationals to rob us and steal in a different way. Obama, of course, will make it up in other ways by stealing more of our constitutional rights. Because, you see, Obama's a better liar. They both lie. But Obama, you know, he's a classier actor. So he could pull it off better, as he did the National Defense Authorization Act. So Obama will be able to get away with it more in raping us to the Constitution. But Romney, you know, this guy is born on third base and thought he hit a triple. He's one of the white shoe boys supremes. He'll be able to steal more of our money. So Obama will rob us of our life, and Romney will rob us of our money. In the end, we lose no matter what.
And both guys, again, are bought and paid for by the same interest. I mean, people say Romney will launch more wars, and he's promised he will. But Obama launches wars and calls them peace. So I don't really see the difference there.
Well, that's what I was saying. Obama just lies better. But he'll rob us more of our constitutional rights. Look, Obama's the guy, just in case anybody's forgotten. You get arrested for having a drink or your bicycle bell doesn't work properly, and they throw you in jail. Let's not forget that Obama, under the Solicitor General, his Solicitor General, Verrilli, now if you get arrested, take off your clothes, bend over, spread your legs. That's right. That's Obama. Obama, you mentioned, the National Defense Authorization Act. They could come and take you and me away for having contacts with alleged terrorists. No charges, no jury, no writ of habeas corpus, no judge, no lawyer, no trial. That's Obama. Romney will rob all our money. This is the clown that brags, oh, I'm a businessman. He's a hedge fund operator. He's the corporate vulture. Remember what Eisenhower said. Any man that seeks the presidency is either an egomaniac or crazy. This guy Romney hasn't stopped running since he's a little schoolboy. And they're egomaniacs and they're crazy. Hedge funds, who the hell ever heard of hedge funds when we were growing up? This Romney, he put out of business all the entrepreneurs that used to be in the stationery store business. He brags that he creates jobs. You want a job at Staples? Wonderful. He brags about it. You could make $62.50 a week. You could stock shelves. You could work all day long, but not enough to be a full-time worker, only a temporary worker, so he could shaft you on benefits. Yeah, Romney wants to build a defense budget even bigger and screw everybody else. How could anybody vote for either of these people? They should be ashamed of themselves for casting a vote for lesser of two evils.
Gerald Celente is our guest. I'm Alex Jones. We're going to be here past 1 a.m. Eastern, midnight tonight, and we will start getting into more of the election returns and latest numbers. We got kicked off about 20 minutes late just because of some technical things between different studios. This is a live beta test that you're seeing. We're talking to Gerald Celente all the way out in Ireland. And I appreciate David Knight getting thrown in the deep end with the Sharks, throwing it to him first when it was supposed to be me up here tonight. But again, we had some technical things and some news gathering problems that we were working on before the show started. But again, this is Infowars.com, true alternative grassroots media attempting to go out and engage the globalist. I look at these headlines. CBS, we covered this earlier today, video showing electronic voting machines changing the vote. People now know what to look for. You know, Gerald, just 12 years ago or so, I would see national polls where less than 10% of people believe there was election fraud. Now it's 80, 90% depending on the poll. So people are getting more wise. They may get apathetic and just give up, but the point is at least people know that the corruption is getting worse and worse, and the system's answer to that's a bigger police state. But what's it going to help the police if their pensions are no good either? How do you see these regardless of which new puppet gets in, which new distraction gets in, where do you see things going now here in the West with some of the developments in the economy, militarily? Hillary's now saying in the news today that we've got to go into Syria because Al-Qaeda's there. And the media doesn't say, wait, the State Department and NATO put them there. I mean, things have reached an absurdist level that I can't even believe now. I mean, it's really entering cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs zone.
Let's talk about the wars, first of all. What's not making the news much is China and Japan going at it, thanks to the United States. You remember what I've said, how you keep playing back, Great Depression, currency wars, trade wars, World War. The trade wars are heating up. The United States lost in Afghanistan. They lost in Iraq. They're destabilizing now Syria. They've already destroyed Libya. They're moving wars now into Mali and North Africa. And now they're refocusing into Southeast Asia. And now China and Japan are heating up. The world is heading to a war. Before I go further, I want to go back on a solution. We've been hearing about this voting fraud every damn election. Every damn election. Why wouldn't people think there's voter fraud? Because we have two frauds fronting, pretending to be president. We have frauds that are fronting, playing to be congressmen and senators. The whole system is a fraud. Here is what I suggest. I keep suggesting it over and over again. Alex, they move trillions of dollars a day around the globe. Rarely are the banking systems hacked. If we could bank online, we can vote online. There's only one reason why they don't want us to vote online. The reason is it would show that the people won't vote for them. That's the reason they're keeping it away. Because we could have full transparency because of all the computer minds out there being able to figure out the algorithms so that when cheating starts, everybody can see it. It would be totally transparent. This is the United States of America. These clowns spend over $1 trillion a year on defense and defense-related expenditures. Who are they BSing when they say, oh, the voting systems are broken down? Could you pull up your zipper? Could you tie your shoes?
The folks over in Ireland like what they're hearing. Sure, instead we've got these computer systems that are all compartmentalized and secret, and then they engage in fraud. The problem is, any system, I think they're going to engage in fraud. I see your point about internet voting, getting everybody involved. My issue is that we went back to paper ballots counted at the precinct in front of everyone, then the numbers posted, then everything can be publicly put together and then integrated via computer, but then it can all be fact-checked right there at the grassroots.
I agree with that as well. I agree 100%, but they're not going to do that. Again, this is the global age. Everything is moving in this direction. People are hooked on their this and that, iPad, everything they have in their hand. They can't vote. Let's make this real. And again, have full transparency, total transparency for everyone to monitor it. Because the numbers don't lie. The liars lie. The whole game is rigged. As I said, they rob our money, they rob us of our lives, and now the great United States of America, these BS artists that are always talking about exporting democracy, you don't even have it at home. You can't even vote for one of the two criminal groups.
Wow. Well, we're going to be finding out here pretty soon. They're talking about devastation on the East Coast. Gerald, you've been in Europe the last week. What is your take on Hurricane Sandy and the horrible response of government? They claimed all these great things, as usual, couldn't deliver, and it turned out it was community centers, churches, and individuals. helping the public, but I saw numbers, and I talked to listeners who confirmed it in New York, New Jersey, and other areas. More than half the public made no preparation, even as they were told the storm was coming in. If the depression continues to worsen, what's going to happen to all these people out there that absolutely have to be taken care of, or they're just going to go and die, basically?
You know, Alex, look at the people. By the way, as I said, you have loads of fans everywhere. And a lot of them are telling me, boy, we're glad we're preppers. We're glad we're survivalists. Hey, how come they're not making fun of them? Hey, the toilet paper of record knows what I do, pessimism porn. I guess you must be a porn dealer if you're a prepper, right? I saw that little clown, Krugman, bragging about what a great job Obama's doing, even though he doesn't have electricity in his house. The entire system is collapsing. They can't cope with it. Let's put this in perspective, Alex. This was a Category 1 hurricane. In real countries, you know what they have? They have floodgates in front of tunnels. You know what they have in real countries, Alex? They have subway systems that doesn't make you feel that you're in the whole of Calcutta when you go into the New York subway system. You know what they have in real countries, Alex? They have their power lines buried beneath the ground. You know what they have in real countries, Alex? They have real civil defense systems. You know what they have in other countries, Alex? They take care of the people. The people, everybody makes fun of preppers. If you can't see why you should be prepared now, you're never going to see it. Now, let's put this into perspective fully. Let's suppose that there's a real terrorist strike in Manhattan, or Atlanta, or in Washington, or San Francisco. Let's suppose that because of United States foreign policy, you know, they have those wonderful Terror Tuesdays when President Obama signs off, oh, let's kill that guy, let's kill this one, and they kill a lot of innocent people. And someone wants to get even. Suppose a dirty bomb goes off. Suppose there's a terrorist strike with a suitcase-sized nuke. Suppose there's a biological warfare weapon. You want to see the systems break down? You want to see entire sections of the country go off the grid? They're ill-prepared to handle it. What are they going to do? Put Janet Napolitano on a horse and drive out and save the day? They better get a Clydesdale for her.
Gerald, what's going to happen to the system, though, as not just here, but all over the world, the fraud of government and these corrupt insider monopoly corporations comes out? I mean, I guess they just think their police state is going to protect them.
Yes, it's global. As I mentioned to the conference here tonight, there's a leadership vacuum worldwide. Let's call a spade and call these clowns who they are, and see how ignorant they are and how everything they've tried they've failed at. You got Cameron over in the UK and Kenny over here. You got Obama there and you got Merkel over here. You got Rajoy Stick over there, and you got Barroso now, one of the commissioners in Europe, telling people what to do. You got Draghi and three-card Monty over in Italy. You got one loser after another. You got Ben Bernanke. You got one loser after another that's destroying the system in front of everybody's eyes, and then they're telling us, give us more power. We know how to fix it. Oh, brilliant. The same clowns that messed it up are now going to fix it. The systems are collapsing. Oh, I can't forget about China. 66% of the Chinese companies that are listed are late in paying their bills. The Chinese government has lowered interest rates 2 times within the last 3 weeks to keep propping up the economy. They're dumping trillions of yuan into the system, trying to pump up the failing housing bubble. Over here in Europe, they came out with a new line: outright monetary transactions. For stupid people who can't think, we'll just call it OMT. Isn't that a nice name? That means dumping more paper money on top of other worthless paper money to cover the other worthless paper money that they can't cover. The entire systems are collapsing. Here's my forecast, Alex. I'm voting for Obama to win. Not that I'm voting for him, I'm not voting. But I'm hoping he wins. You know why? Because no one expects anything of him. So the transparency of this fraud could be shown really quickly when there are no other plans that he could come up with. And then we'll have to go into a new system because the one that they're propping up is going to collapse. If Romney, however, wins, then you're going to hear Romney has a plan. Let's give him a chance. They always say the same crap after every election. So he'll get away with it for several more months. So we can't wait several more months because in several more months, they'll figure out how to steal several trillion more dollars from us and drive us deeper into depression.
So your view is Obama will come in, he'll make it worse even faster, but a new puppet, it'll take people time to figure out that Romney's a complete fraud. So in a way, worse is better. And, you know, as a radio host, it's predominantly conservative libertarian. I'm a libertarian constitutionalist, but I obviously don't like the Republican Party that is, fake conservatives and so deceptive. But I sit there and I watch them, and as soon as Romney gets elected, they're all going to go to sleep. So from a cynical view, I'm like, hey, Obama gets back in, people may actually wake up, plus it's good for my radio show, but that's not how I think. I'm just so torn because I wish there was some way out within the system. It's like being told you got terminal cancer or something. You're wishing there was some way out of it. But it really is just a comeuppance that we're entering. Gerald Celente, I want you first to take some time to talk about your website, the Trends Journal, and the type of information people can get there because it's so invaluable. But then spend about 10 minutes. I want to give you the floor in closing to kind of give us a breakdown of what you covered in Germany and Ireland. Kind of give us a speech if you've got time. You can go 20 minutes if you like. Then we'll go to David Knight with the latest election news here in our other studio. But if you've got the time, I know it's late at night over there, tell us about the Trends Journal. And then, break down, kind of your speech, kind of a little shortened, truncated version.
Well, on the Trends Journal, of course, we're looking at what's going to happen before it happens. It's history before it happens. And the purpose of the Trends Journal is to prepare people so that they can make plans, just like being a prepper, a survivalist, but in many different fields. Where is there going to be growth? Where is there going to be decline? Where should you put your money? What should you consider doing with it? What are going to be the educational opportunities? What are going to be the business advantages and declines? That's what the Trends Journal really does. And as you know, Alex, we make it available to virtually everyone. We have a discount request page. We know people are going through difficult times. Just fill out the information. There's nothing personal there. And we will do the very best we can to make it available for everyone. So what my talks are about in both Munich and in Dublin, here at the One World Chronicle, is beginning with, what trend forecasting is and how you can really see the face of the future. You can't forecast it. No one can predict it. There are too many wild cards. But when you tell people things that they don't like, and because they're locked into a belief system, they don't want to believe them. But when you go to a doctor and you get a diagnosis that you don't care for, you don't get a lot of baloney shooting back at the doctor for hearing what you don't want to hear. But when people hear political, economic, social news that they're not ready for, they really take it personally. They can't break out of their belief systems. So that's the first part of the presentation. The second part of the presentation is tracking trends as an understanding of where we are. And from the work of the Trends Journal and what I do, we paint a picture of the present like no one else does. And I'm not saying that because, we're doing it, but the facts stand on their own. And I make this very clear. I don't You know, we're only human. We make mistakes. But we're at this since 1981. And our track record is unparalleled to anyone's, be it in gourmet coffees, to clean water, to clean foods, to the panic of '08 and the crash of 1987. So it's one after another. We've been on the money. So the purpose, though, however, is not so much to say this is what we've done and how good we're doing it. We're saying to people, get in touch so you can see where it's going. And forecasting trends is the knowledge of where we are and the understanding of where we were, how we got here. So let's talk, for example, about the panic of '08 and where we are today. You can see that panic was going to happen when we first wrote about it in 2004 and actually coined the term the Great Recession and said it would hit by late 2007. And it did. How did we know? Again, looking back, we knew because the dot-com crash of 2000. When that happened, we knew that there was going to be no recovery. But 9/11 happened. And they used 9/11 as an excuse to juice the economy. We're under attack. They hit our freedom and liberty. And who comes to the rescue? Alan Greenspan, the guy that couldn't speak one damn sentence without making any sense. The same jerk that every call that he ever made was wrong. So he really shafted it to everybody. He lowered interest rates to 46-year lows. They conned people into taking out loans they couldn't afford. Hey, you want to build that addition onto your house? Don't you know how much value you have there? We're going to give you a loan. Have no income verification. Hey, don't worry about it. We'll give you the money. Hey, pay us back. Hey, we're friends. Don't worry, when you get the money, you give it to us. Alan Greenspan, that other little weasel, that other little Fed creep, that other Bernanke clone, was the guy that set up the whole system for failure. So we show people how it happened. They conned everybody into taking out bad loans. The loans went bad, and we do this. We show where we were. And what did they do? They came out with the big lie. The big lie was we had to bail out the banks. They're too big to fail because, hey, after all, they're better than you and I. They're too big to fail. If they fail, we're no good. We'll all die. Let's steal the people's money and give it to the banks. So what I do is I show people by using a PowerPoint America's long-term decline. And I do it with pop culture. I show, for example, Duke Ellington, you know, looking as the Duke does with a top hat and a tuxedo and playing a couple of bars of Take the A Train. And then I show Kanye West and Jay-Z. Yeah, you remember Jay-Z. He was out there beating the band for Obama yesterday out in Ohio. And they couldn't even fill the auditorium with him and Bruce Springsteen. Who gives a damn what Jay-Z or Bruce Springsteen thinks about anything?
I agree with you. You're getting continual coverage of the real election. This is historical, and I just want to commend the amazing crew up here and what they're doing tonight. I sit here and I watch all this unfold, Gerald, and I see the corrupt globalists fleeing the U.S. after they've engineered its collapse, and I commend the fact that you've said you're going to stay here and fight it out in the info war and then in other ways if need be. If we beat these people, folks will look back just like they look back on the French resistance against the Nazis, or just like they look back on the Poles or the Ukrainians standing up against the Soviets. I just wish that people that weren't historically or politically uninitiated, I wish they understood this is not hyperbole. Those of us that are staying here do so at the threat of our lives. This is not a game. It's not a joke. And there's really three different groups of people in this country. I mean, you can break it down into more, but you've got the small, tiny insider, technocrat, parasite elite that knows the public's unconscious and dumbed down. And then you've got the giant mass of just people trying to work, muddle through, but they've been brought up to be continual children, arrested development, literally don't know how to tie their shoelaces if the television didn't tell them how. And then you've got people that are actually aware of what's happening and are horrified by it, trying to wake up, you know, the zombified sheeple masses. And you've got the system doing everything it can to further dumb people down. And, you know, you mentioned preppers. Hey, let's make fun of preppers that were prepared in New Jersey, New York, and other areas, Pennsylvania, Ohio, that are able to take care of people now. And as usual, government couldn't and wouldn't deliver. And again, it's this instinct of the parasitic robber baron class to want a bunch of victims, but then they destroy their own infrastructure, which they have now hijacked, in the process of this will to power, this will to total domination. And the globalists all compete with each other over who can be the most wicked, who can be the most manipulative. In the final equation, it all blows back on them as well. I mean, take Prop 37. You know, most polls showed it 2-to-1. People want to be able to know what's in their food if it's GMO. Cross species, grows its own pesticide, you know, makes bugs' guts burst, but they say it's safe for humans. And then they come out and say, oh, suddenly everybody's for it. That's all just a hoax ahead of electronic voting machine fraud with that proposition. I've known that for a long time. But this can only work so long while they're killing us with this stuff. And so, I mean, I'm kind of ranting here off of what you've said, but first speak to if you agree with the kind of three basic groups of people and what's going to happen as the sheep and their master vampires, you know, as things collapse, try to scapegoat those of us that were proven right. I mean, you were called a pessimist porn dealer. I've been demonized and all these things constantly. But then everything we talk about, unfortunately, is unfolding. We're not happy to say the Titanic is listing and about to go under. You know, get to the lifeboats. It's sad. I mean, I guess Orwell said in the world of universal deceit, telling the truth is a revolutionary act. And I'm kind of ranting here. It's just that, you know, you watch the general public identifying with Romney as their savior and their personal hero and what makes them have value in the world. Or you watch the Obama supporters and the Obama phone and identifying with government as their power instead of themselves being their power. And it's just sad to watch humanity drained by a scientific tyranny and to know we're going down this nightmare road. So I mean, kind of in that rant, what groups do you see out there? And then, you know, your take on things like Prop 37.
Well, it's what you said. Yes, there are the people that just follow, the three groups that you said, you know, the elites and the others. And you asked me about my talk. And another part, then I show them the trends that are developing, where the economies are going, the great wars that are emerging. But really, the crux of the entire speech is that everyone has to find the greatness within them. This doesn't have to be the Ukraine. This doesn't have to be the Soviet Union. This doesn't have to be a police state. This doesn't have to be a revolution of bullets and bombs. On the contrary, you know, as Einstein made it very clear, nothing comes of peace brought by violence that begins in violence. So my message is really an intellectual and spiritual revolution. And there are a lot of wonderful people everywhere I go. And when you show them that they don't have to cower to clowns, and when you really break down, which I do, who the people are that are leading us and how unqualified and what psychopaths they are, that the only thing that's stopping people from changing the future are the people themselves. The people don't know the power that they have. As you began this, Alex, by talking about the small group of elites. It's a small group of elites. They are powerless without the police being their power. And once the police abandon them, they have no power. The power is with the people. But the people power only comes about, as I believe it, when the people work to find the greatness within them. So one of the messages that I say and what I talk about is I'm a believer that, and I'm sure you are and everybody listening is, that each of us have these unique gifts. Bringing those unique gifts that we have, working on them, because everybody knows it takes a lot of work to hone your craft. When you keep doing that, you rise to higher levels. When you raise the bar, you don't accept mediocrity. And when the individual changes, the collective consciousness changes. I have to say this, Alex, with everything that I believe and every ounce of blood and truth and passion in me, the time has never been better than now. And I'll tell you why. You mentioned earlier that years ago, when you say 12 years ago, 10 years ago, there was voter fraud, people wouldn't believe it. And then 8 years, a couple of more people did start believing it. And as it keeps moving forward, and then you mentioned the numbers, 80 to 90% of the people believe it. You look at the numbers of how many people no longer believe in government, in Congress. What is it, like 16 or 17% of the people believe in Congress? And those are the flunkies that work for them, have the federal jobs. That's why they believe.
Sure, some numbers are as low as 9% approval rating for Congress.
9% approval rating for Congress. Now, here's the point. The vacuum has never been larger. It could be filled with anything. The void is there. You have an empty suit and a stuffed shirt that's vying for the White House. How transparent can it be? It could be filled with anything. And my message is, let's fill it with greatness. The greatness of the people, the spirit of the people, the dignity of the people, the courage of the people, the respect of the people, the integrity of the people, and the passion of the people. Those are unstoppable values that the politicians are defenseless against. That's what I believe, and that's why I say the time is now.
Well said. Wow. Listen to folks there in Ireland. What city are you in Ireland there, Gerald? What city are you in Ireland?
I'm in Dublin.
Dublin. Well, hey, tell folks out there that I salute the great Irish people. I've got quite a bit of Irish blood running through my veins. I'm proud of that. I'm proud of all my ancestors. But I want to say this. If you go to Alexa.com or you go to Google Analytics, there is only one country. People would think that online I would be rated #1. You know, my highest ratings would be in the U.S. I'm like rated 480 something, which is huge, in the United States. Last time I checked, there's only one country where Infowars.com is rated higher, and it's Ireland. In fact, maybe we can show that. If you go to Alexa.com and type in Infowars.com, it'll show country ratings. And last time I checked, and it's been this way for years, Ireland is where we're most popular. And so I just want to say this. We salute all the folks over there that know the euro's a tyranny, that know the globalists are a tyranny and hate the banksters and want sovereignty and freedom for our countries. So I salute the Irish right now. God bless them.
Let me tell him that. Alex said he salutes the Irish. He's a lot of Irish in him. Infowars is rated higher in Ireland than anywhere else in the world, and that he's against the tyranny, against the euro, and wants you people to fight against the banker tyranny, and he is all on your side. And Alex, you should know this. And one other thing, Alex, if you want to show how disgusting it all is, imagine this. They're trying to introduce genetically modified potatoes into Ireland.
Unbelievable. I saw that. How disgusting.
How disgusting, he said.
They're not going to put up with that.
He said, you won't put up with that. You're right, they're not. Alex, is there anything that I could tell the folks here in Ireland that they should know about the election, what you're hearing, what I could tell them, and what you see coming out.
Sure. It is still neck and neck, and we're going to have the great David Knight, one of our great reporters, breaking down some of those numbers here in just a few minutes. But Romney has won Kentucky. The Associated Press and others report. I'm getting a lot of this from Infowars.com and DrudgeReport.com, where our team, Kurt Nimmo and Adon Salazar, and they're posting articles. Romney has won Indiana. Obama has won Vermont. Enough. Let's count. Currently popular vote, Romney 53, Obama 46, but it'll be the Electoral College that decides it. And they're talking about if people can't vote in New York, postponing it, but we'll see what happens there. And this is what I wanted to raise to you, because you mentioned this. CBS News is reporting in New York, women are giving away sex for gasoline. Sandy gas woes continue. People trading gas for sex on Craigslist and vice versa, showing how I'm a cook to be putting in a gas tank at my house and having a well and rainwater collection, and so are you, Gerald, for having a garden. But here it is, people within 7-8 days giving sex for a can of gas to run their generator so they can cook something. Where's the almighty government?
Yeah, Alex is saying that people they're reporting in New York that women are selling themselves for sex for gasoline, that they can't get gas in the city. They may postpone the voting in New York. They're without heat and electricity now. It's going on 7 days. People are desperate, doing anything. And as far as the election is going, Romney's ahead 53% in the popular vote. They're still counting the votes. And, of course, the electoral votes. So far, Romney has won Kentucky and Indiana. But Obama, Romney, Kentucky and Indiana, and Obama in Vermont. Is that right?
Yes, sir. That is exactly what's going on. Now, just on the Ireland subject, it's usually Ireland's #1. I just checked today, probably because of the election, we're having more U.S. visitors. But, guys, if you punch up Alexa.com for TV viewers here on my computer feed right here. No, I mean, I have it punched up. Yeah, there it is. There is Alexa.com. Again, you can just put my feed up and I'll show people. Okay, that's fine. If you type in Infowars.com to this, there you can see I'm rated in the U.S. 465, in Ireland 495, but usually we're #1 in Ireland. Again, we're most popular in Ireland, so that just shows that the great Irish people are not naive and are awake. And I'm proud of the fact that I've seen in the polls out there that they didn't want to be part of the euro, but were forced into it. And I hope that I hope the great Irish people over there get out of the euro and go back to the national sovereignty and arrest all the foreign bankers that have hijacked your country.
Alex said that he says he hopes you go out of the euro, get back into your sovereignty, and arrest all the foreign bankers that have stolen your money.
All right. Well, listen, again, Gerald, thank you so much. Obviously, we love having you on. You are, hands down, our listeners' favorite guest. There's a lot of great ones we have on Great Minds, Men and Women. You're my mother's favorite guest, and I salute you and thank you for staying up late. And seriously, tell all those folks that we just appreciate them, and I wish I was there with you right now. And in closing, anything else, Gerald Celente, you'd like to add from Dublin?
I think that's about it, Alex. And Alex said he wishes he was here with you, looks forward to coming and visit you, and said that the reason that his #1 in all of the countries with the highest rating is because the Irish people are among the most awake.
Absolutely, absolutely. We just showed those numbers. Very interesting. All right, Gerald Celente, give out your website one more time.
Trendsjournal.com, trendsjournal.com. And Alex, thanks for all you're doing, and thanks for having me on tonight. All the best.
You bet. You bet. Thank you so much. All right, there goes...